be the pillars of society. Family Fest, bringing healing and rest to hurting families, bringing help, hope, healing, happiness. With God on our side, we're marching strong, looking out for hurting children all around, and helping good parents carry on. Standing united, we'll overcome.
Good evening and welcome to Family Fest Barbados 2025. We want to thank you so much for joining us in 2024, where we brought help, hope, healing, and definitely happiness to your families. I am so excited to be here with you this evening. I'm Lisa Dottin, and we have a wonderful set of panelists here with us. We have Tony Olton, Fabian Sargent, Rachel Cheeseman, and you're going to be hearing so much from them very shortly as we explore the topic emotional intelligence in the family. So welcome to all of you. Welcome to our panelists. So why are we here? Why is Family Fest exploring this very important topic? When we look at families, not only in Barbados, but all over the world, we can see a steady breakdown in the relationships. We can see a breakdown in the relationships between spouses as well as children and parents. And many years ago, it was thought, if your physical needs are met, that's it. That's all you need. But the degradation of families continues to get worse. And on close examination, we're realizing that this breakdown in families has a lot more to do with more than what meets the eye and a lot more to do with what is obvious. This discussion will seek to take a deep dive into some of the dynamics of emotional intelligence within our families. And we hope that this conversation will shed some much needed light on the dynamics of emotions that were previously ignored, sometimes overlooked, or even misunderstood. In unpacking this topic, we really hope that each member of the family would benefit from bridging the gap between the pain, separation, and even destruction, and replace it with understanding and healing and reconciliation. Many don't do better because they don't know better. And this discussion, we are hoping, will uncover the lid, and it will open a pot to understanding the area of emotional intelligence in the context of the family. Maybe the healing process could start as the level of self-awareness increases. So this evening, as we explore this, we are grateful to our sponsors, Corbar Business Solutions, Inc., for equipment, technology, and services. They supply the best business solutions to keep you in business. Thank you so much to our sponsors. So join us as we take a deep look at emotional intelligence. We're seeking this evening to understand the dynamics of it. So that's what our panelists, they're going to do for you, and how each member of the family can help to improve, to strengthen the family life by understanding how our emotions and our emotional issues are to be managed. So it is with great pleasure that I invite each of our panelists. They're going to tell you a bit about themselves so you understand what perspective they're coming from. So we have two gentlemen and one lady here with us. So what I'm going to do this time around, gentlemen, you don't mind if the lady begins first, right? I'm sure chivalry isn't dead. Beautiful. So we have Rachel Cheeseman, Fabian Sargent, and Tony Olton, and I'm sure they can give you their introductions in that order. Go right ahead.
Hi, good evening. I am Rachel Cheeseman. Happy to be here. I am the youth Program Director at the Caribbean Institute for Social and Emotional Learning, as well as the Social Media Director at the same organization. I've been with the organization since completing my EQ practitioner training in 2020. I've also a very passionate advocate for SEL among our youth. Hence my title at the organization, because that's one thing that I seek to do, is to broaden the scope of SEL among our youth. And I look forward to adding value to this discussion this evening, not only as an EQ educator, but also as a mom of a teenage daughter. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Over to you, Fabian.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Well, I am Fabian Sargent. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm also a professional social worker. I am the founder and president of Men Empowerment Network Support. And the organization really focuses on the social and emotional empowerment of men and boys across Barbados. I'm also a man seeking to, I guess, be the best version of myself. I'm becoming a lot more emotionally intelligent, hence my involvement with this program. So I look forward to a very robust conversation.
Beautiful.
Right, so thanks. I am Tony Olton. I am the founder of the Caribbean Institute for Social and Emotional Learning. I first got involved in emotional intelligence back in 2002. That was part of my own quest for my own self-development, but I quickly recognized the power of emotional intelligence and subsequently social emotional learning.
Yes.
And its ability to help us significantly move towards having us solve the challenges that you so eloquently described in your layup. So I look forward to being part of the discussion this evening.
Beautiful. So for those who are listening, we are going to have some deep diving going on. So we're going to jump straight into our discussion. And we don't want to explore a topic before we share with persons what it's all about. So in the simplest form that you can think of, share with our listeners what is emotional intelligence. We're going to hear from all three of you, three different perspectives. And as your mic is already open, so you can get started. Help us to understand what is emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, there are several definitions. So let me put about two or three of them on you. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, use, understand, and manage emotions. Okay. Your own and the emotions in others. Why is that important? Because as human beings, we are fundamentally driven. We are moved by our emotions. We've all gone to school and learned all kinds of stuff: French, geography, Spanish, mathematics, physics. What we've not spent a lot of time teaching, and as a result learning, is the language of our own emotions, the messages that are contained in our emotions. So that, simply put, emotional intelligence, in my head, is a solution, or is the solution to the challenges that we're facing in our society. It's otherwise described as the ability to be smart with your feelings.
I like that.
To become strategic in how you treat to your feelings. Yeah. So the skills are self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation, social awareness, and social skills.
Okay.
Skills because they're learnable and they are transferable.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because we're going to dig into that a little later. So thank you so much. Rachel and Fabian, you can decide who wants to jump in first and give us your perspective.
Well, I'll jump in because I'll kind of add to what Tony would have just said about the emotions being messages. And I think that's a very important key in understanding what emotional intelligence is. And the messages are from you to you about you. And really, in order to hear those messages, to understand those messages, I think we need to be able to slow down, right? We need to be able to pause, to name, to notice, to reflect. So for me personally, my personal definition that I like to walk around with in my head is the ability to practice the pause. That's how I view it. So I know that I am doing good in that department when I'm able to stop and pause before I respond to a situation. And I would just leave with you a quote, because as I am a tutor of Tony, I have come to love quotes a lot. So one of my favorite quotes is by Viktor Frankl, and the quote goes, "Between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response." So that space is the pause, right? The pause before you react, and to me, that's where emotional intelligence lives.
Wonderful.
Yes, coming behind two wonderful definitions, you know, you leave me with the crumbs. But to me, emotional intelligence is really about understanding your emotions, being able to name them, understand when you name them, what behaviors pretty much would come, how you would respond to these feelings and these emotions. It really is about telling you about yourself, how you respond to your environment, and I guess how you connect with people around you. So being emotionally intelligent involves a wide range of things about you, you know, and how you really respond to your entire social space. So I'll leave it there in a very simple way, because the two that went before me did all the heavy lifting.
Well, then I should get you started on the next angle now, because my question for you guys, some persons may be listening to us, they've heard what we said, and they may say, yeah, but you know, does it really make a difference? Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Help us to understand why, I guess in a nutshell, where we even having this discussion this evening, why is it so important? What difference does it make? So I guess you can get started, Fabian. And we're looking at the family, so you can decide your angle.
Yeah, sure. Let me really look at behavior. I think this entire conversation, I guess, is really on the backdrop of what has been going on with families generally and society, and the breakdown of families. And oftentimes we don't ever pay attention to things that we do not see. We pay attention to the behaviors. We see the behaviors. We see the violence. We see the cursing. We see how parents treat their children, how individuals treat their spouses. That is what we see, because naturally we're tangible beings. We really respond to things that our eyes can see and we can touch and feel. Now, the underlying to what that behavior is the emotions. And it is extremely important to really tap into that foundation. Oftentimes we focus on the fruit and not the root. And the emotions is the root. Getting in a space where you can understand how you feel. Now, traditionally, we were never really taught to tap into how we feel as individuals within families. It has never been part of our cultural existence. I mean, when you grow up, especially where men and boys are socialized, they get beat and tell, stop crying here. You know,
it's true.
If you cry as a man, no, man, men don't cry. Men are supposed to cry. Even now, in this modern day society, that still exists. Okay, we are never taught words in terms of, well, we never taught words outside of sad, happy, vex, all right, okay. So the importance of the whole concept of emotional intelligence, it really equips individuals with that knowledge, that vocabulary that is important, because if you cannot name it, you can't really identify with it. And sometimes we mix up our emotions and we jump straight to anger most of the times based on what I see. And if we can dissect what frustration looks like, what disappointment looks like, then we are in a better position to act on what we are feeling, and also understand that we always have choices. And that is, to my mind, one of the most important parts of this, understanding that we have choices and what those choices would be. And I'll just close off with this. One of the parts that is very, I guess, that I would like to focus on throughout the conversation is that of patterns, behavioral patterns within families. We get so accustomed to treating people a particular way, communicating a particular way, that we don't ever realize when it's creating a challenge within the family. And until we can identify what those patterns are and treat to those patterns will continue. And actually, I mean, if you really take a close look at families, we have so many generational patterns because you do what your mother did what your grandmother did, and we need to come to a point where we can identify what those patterns are and find a way to really find